What up, guys? This is a new show where I react to current stuff in the health and wellness world. Videos that are going viral, videos that you guys want me to react to. We have the Discord right here. So you've been leaving your videos. We're going to do this every week because health is ever changing. Despite what they say, there's always new shit going on. So let's react to this first video right here. The dangers of red food dye.
Red velvet cake. Little did I know, it was just some food coloring with some artificial flavoring. Darn, this whole time I thought it was something that was very, very authentic and natural.
Another thing with the red food dye is they could just use beetroot powder. That's oftentimes what they use in Europe, and beetroot powder actually has some benefits for blood flow and stuff like that. So it's just kind of absurd that we use red 40 when there's no benefits of red 40 whatsoever, and it might have drawbacks. I think it does. I know there hasn't been long-term studies on red 40, but yeah.
But it was just food dye. So red food dye, number 40 is usually in the US, number 3 is in other parts of the world, is linked to some problems, some big problems. The food industry pumps out 15 million pounds of food dye into our food supply. It's in baked goods.
15 million pounds of food dye goes into our food supply. That's insane. And I bet he's going to go on to go over all these studies, which I've looked at all these guys. There isn't any conclusive evidence that a little bit of red 40 or blue 1 or yellow 5 is going to suddenly give you ADHD or give you allergies. I would say the most interesting argument against it is benzene contamination. Basically, when they make these food dyes, there can be benzene in them, which is a known carcinogen. Why I don't eat it and why I'm really against it, and I think it's stupid, is there is no need for it. These are just food dyes, okay? So they just make foods more palatable to like children and stuff like that because they're bright colors, because our brains are hardwired to look for bright colors, because the way we evolved as Homo sapiens is to seek out fruit, seek out bright colors. It's one of the reasons we evolved to be able to see colors. It's a survival mechanism, and to be drawn towards colors. And they're hijacking them with red 40, dude. So yeah, Dr. Eric Berg, definitely he's a cool guy, but yeah, some of his stuff, yeah, he goes on. Okay, let's see what's next. Yeah, Barcelona players using nose strips for recovery after games. Yeah, the nose strip thing, guys, these have become really popular. You cannot scroll on social media without seeing a nose strip ad. They are legit. Now, why do I not wear them? When I was young, I broke my nose. Luckily. Why luckily? I'm about to tell you. I was playing indoor soccer. I was like 19, shattered my nose. Boom. I'd just gotten to know my girl at the time. I'm like, pick me up. I broke my nose. She picks me up. And luckily I got in with a good doctor and he fixed my nose. And he was also like, your septum's pretty deviated, just obviously from the broken nose, but he saw some issues with it. So I got my septum fixed during that surgery. And so I was able to breathe way better after that. So I have good inhale and exhale capability with my nose, which is essential. If you read the book Breathe by Dr. James Nestor, you are going to find that if you have a severely deviated septum or you can't breathe in your nose effectively, it's going to mess up your jaw health, your oral microbiome. You're going to basically produce less nitric oxide. You're going to be more prone to getting sick because the little hairs in our nose, the little cilia, actually help filter out pathogens, bacteria. Our nose helps humidify the air. It gives you better cardio. So yeah, using those is totally valid. I know they're becoming really trendy, but pretty cool. Shout out Barcelona. Let's see what this dude's saying. Thoughts on yerba mate?
Versus green tea. They both have caffeine. They both energize you. Candidly, they're both great. But we don't know the entire mechanisms as to why one could be better than the other. But what we do have is lots and lots of data. So we're going to break down the difference between green tea and yerba mate, decide which one's better for what, but also give you a playbook on when to use one or the other, because they seem to, when you unpack all the literature, have very different uses.
This is interesting. I'm a fan of yerba mate. I'm a fan of green tea. Obviously, both those contain caffeine. I know green tea has L-theanine in there, which is going to basically offset some of those effects of caffeine. And there are tons of studies on the antioxidants from green tea. Green tea comes from the tea leaf plant. All tea comes from the tea leaf plant. I'm also a fan of yerba mate. The thing is, I don't like anything sweetened. So given the fact that I don't like anything sweetened, I don't love the taste of those teas. They're sometimes a little bit bitter, but I'll drink them sometimes. I like to get my caffeine through a little bit of cold brew coffee in the morning. But yeah, let's see what he kind of says. It's a long video. I'm gonna fast forward through it.
Yerba mate, pretty serious amount, or placebo prior to exercise, so 60 minutes prior to exercise. And then what they had them do is they had them go on like a stationary bike or a treadmill, some form of ergometer. And they would have them increase their intensity by 0.5 watts per kilogram, right? Every 3 minutes. So it was almost structured like a VO2 max test where they got on a bike and then they'd increase intensity every 3 minutes by a small amount based on their weight, which makes it very accurate. What they found with this is that yerba mate increased the total energy expenditure, but also the fatty acid utilization at all intensities up until 70% maximum intensity.
I think the exact same thing would happen if they gave him 100 milligrams of caffeine. I think caffeine does that. So basically, I think with yerba mate and green tea, you're getting some caffeine, but you're also getting a lot of antioxidants. I'm a huge fan of them. I don't think we need to watch this whole video. If you like green tea or yerba mate, go for it. Make sure it's unsweetened or it's only like a few grams of some sugars. So yeah.
I have 25 million subscribers of people who listen to every word I say and correct every mistake I make. And I could tell you how your information very confidently lands with them. And it doesn't land in the way you intended to. And I just urge that in your upcoming books and the speeches that you make, just take that into consideration. Because when you make statements like apples are horrible, the worst thing you could do for your mitochondria is a fruit smoothie, it's not just taking a little bit of liberty with information. It's truly misleading people to make bad decisions for their health. That's all I'll say.
All right, so we have Dr. Mike here confronting Dr. Gundry, and I think he's confronting him about something valid. Saying a fruit smoothie is bad or saying an apple is bad is just cap. Now, I think a lot of people would come back at me and say, oh, saying seed oils are bad is cap. I would disagree with that, and I have some evidence that we've gone over that a million times. But, you know, yeah, I mean, I think like overall, if you're giving broad advice and, then yeah, I mean, saying like an apple is bad is just not good advice.
Consuming a high-grain diet in the Leon-Hart study. And you're arguing against those things.
And you live longer if you smoke in some of these areas.
But it's not because if you smoke, it's in spite of smoking.
No, you're wrong.
But how?
You are wrong.
You know smoking is pro-inflammatory.
Nicotinic acid is one of the best mitochondrial...
Dr. Gundry, we have to end this conversation.
The British doctors studies showed that
we need to at least end
British smokers, British doctors who smoke have a 30% less incidence of Parkinson's and dementia.
Yeah, because they die of 10 other diseases beforehand.
No.
So
I think both sides use a lot of these studies that... and hey, I'm guilty of it too. Like if there's a study surveying 500,000 red meat eaters and they conclude that, oh, there's a 6% increase in cancer in the group that ate red meat, I'm going to be like, that is the worst study ever because you're surveying 500,000 people that might eat McDonald's as their source of red meat. But that said, like, you got to be careful. You haven't heard me talk about this study because I was excited when I saw it and then I really looked into it and I'm like, damn, it's just not something I can even promote, which is basically, they surveyed a bunch of people who consume more artificial sweeteners, had a higher rate of autism, and I think having children that had autism. And while that would be great for my anti-artificial sweetener take, it's just not really relevant because it's just bad data. It's like, okay, you're surveying people that are drinking a bunch of diet soda and eating foods with artificial sweeteners. So, who knows? But yeah, interesting video there. Let's scroll around here. Let's see.
One of the dumbest takes that I've ever fucking heard is that the reason why men have low testosterone as a whole is because of environmental toxicity. Everyone's talking about big plastics, environmental estrogens. All that's fucking nonsense. Use some fucking common sense. We live in the most comfortable arcology of all time. There are no real fucking wars to fight. We haven't had a war on our soil. Motherfuckers that you cite from the past that had raging high tea were under constant attack every fucking day. You live in fucking an air-conditioned environment. You won't even go for a jog if it's 105 and it's dry. And you're over here, your entire lifestyle is fucking low T. There's zero explosiveness in your lifestyle. And testosterone is an as-needed hormone. Why the fuck would your testosterone be high 24/7? That makes zero fucking sense. If you're sitting in a doctor's office under fucking fluorescent light, getting a needle stuck into you to do your bloods, why the fuck would your T be high? But if I launch you in the dead center of the fucking jungle, I guarantee you get a fucking T spike.
So what he's saying does have some truth in a way. First of all, what he said at first of environmental toxins don't matter, that's just absolute cap. You can listen to Huberman's podcast on microplastics basically and phthalates. There's really hard data to support that microplastic exposure and other toxins, as he's saying, environmental toxins, absolutely can affect your testosterone and your endocrine system. What he is saying about your testosterone level basically fluctuating a lot is true. So if you want to get accurate labs done, you should probably do your testosterone reading between 8 and 10 a.m. If you're doing blood work. I get my testosterone levels checked all the time. I just got my levels back. I was at 847 nanograms per deciliter, and that's great. I love to see that my free testosterone was high. So yeah, that's cool, but let's see what else he says.
But you motherfuckers, the hardest thing you've done in your life, the most painful experience you've had is almost scalding your nuts on your patio. Because you think all these surrogate measures of raising your fucking testosterone, sunbathing, tiptoeing through the fucking tulips, like that's conducive to a high testosterone lifestyle. Yeah, when's the last time you went all in on a fucking business venture? All in with every fucking resource that you have, and how about and everybody else's resources that you know?
So he's saying stuff that makes sense because there is studies with testosterone and competition. Even I think there was just one on chess, you know what I mean? Like just simple games like that and competition in males and females can raise your hormone levels basically, and they affect your endocrine system. And we see stuff when you win versus lose affecting testosterone. There's very transient rises in testosterone when you do something like cutting wood, like chopping wood can raise your testosterone temporarily. It's not a permanent increase. It's not even an increase that's going to affect you in a very anabolic way at all. They did a study, I think there was something about eating an onion can raise your testosterone. That's just because it is a shock to your body, like he is saying. So there is some truth to what he's saying. I do think testosterone's so crucial. I can't imagine if I had gone through my whole life with low testosterone, I would have made as many aggressive plays as I have in business, in life, in just going for it and getting after it. So I think the two kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, you should challenge yourself in life and compete. That's why I like doing jiu-jitsu. I feel like jiu-jitsu helps my testosterone. I feel like the competition, the friendly competition I have with my friends sometimes helps my testosterone. So yeah, I think some of what he's saying is right, but the fact that he's saying microplastics don't matter, it's cap. Yeah, being around your friends raises your testosterone. Go do stuff with people in person. I guarantee you playing a video game with people isn't going to raise your testosterone unless you're playing NHL with your friends and you're screaming like we do sometimes. Let's go into NSAIDs and their effects on the gut. Wow. I mean, this is something I experienced personally. I didn't know when I was younger that taking Advil and other NSAIDs could mess you up. They mess you up so much. I'm not saying you should never use Advil ever, that it has no effects whatsoever. I haven't popped an Advil forever. Why would I want to reduce my glutathione levels that much? Why would I want to potentially damage my gut?
Prep for Advil, Aleve, ibuprofen, or had a high dose of aspirin.
Not a long time.
Realize that the side effects from taking these common over-the-counter drugs can damage the lining of your gut, cause other gut health related issues, and actually trigger inflammation. Well, if you do have gut health issues and you've been taking what are known as NSAIDs, which stands for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, then this video is a must watch, because I'm going to break down how they work, common side effects, and provide alternative ways to alleviate pain and steps you must take immediately to heal your gut. Hi, I'm Ben Angel, and I teach people how to brain all the inflammation. In researching my latest book on gut health, I spoke to doctors in gut-brain axis research from MIT, Stanford, Harvard Lifestyle Medicine, and the Gut Institute to uncover the missing links between gut health and mood. And aside from antibiotics, which I've discussed at length in an earlier video, NSAIDs quickly became a second major cause of concern.
Now think of what happens with many people that just stack these, dude. When you are young, if you just don't know about any of this, you will go to the hospital for something minor and you will take Advil and antibiotics, a couple of courses of them, I did that when I was really young. Obviously, I didn't know anything. My parents didn't know about this stuff, and it wrecks your health permanently. Talk to the functional medicine doctors that we've had in here about what happens when you take a bunch of antibiotics or Advil. Am I saying you should never take antibiotics? No. If you have staph or another infection, they can be life-saving. They are overprescribed, though. That is a fact. Am I saying they shouldn't exist? They don't have use? No, of course. They can be life-saving. But they are overprescribed, and it's messing with people's gut health for sure. Also, if you are given antibiotics, the fact that our medical system isn't educating people on how to repopulate your gut with healthy probiotics, I know some doctors are, that is another mistake. So if you have taken antibiotics or you have to, take them. If you're in a serious place where you need to take them, repopulate your gut. Kefir, other probiotics, fermented foods, that's going to be key.
Take a look at how they actually work. NSAIDs work by stopping the production of chemicals in your body called prostaglandins, which promote inflammation, pain, and fever by blocking cyclooxygenase enzymes. However, prostaglandins also protect the intestinal lining, so it's a catch-22. NSAIDs stop pain, but by stopping the intestinal protected prostaglandins, they also damage the gut lining. NSAIDs cause an estimated 41,000 hospitalizations and 3,300 deaths each year among older adults here in the US. They also not only cause blood clots and interfere with aspirin's ability to thin blood, NSAIDs also cause an increase of systolic blood pressure and fluid retention. Other side effects are gastrointestinal problems, esophagus lesions, and ulcers in the stomach lining. The long-term use of NSAIDs like ibuprofen can also increase intestinal permeability. Intestinal permeability is the medical term for leaky gut.
It has been really cool to see the Western medical system really embrace this intestinal permeability, which Eastern medicine and holistic health is called leaky gut and talked about forever. It was commonly basically written off as, oh, it's not real, but now it is seen as 100% real, that there's something called intestinal permeability. You have your gut, you have tight junctions in your gut that are supposed to basically be a closed system. You eat stuff and it stays in your gut. When this is loosened through stuff like NSAID use, alcohol use, basically particles of food can go out of your gut, enter your bloodstream, and your immune system is going to get activated to address those. This is what's commonly called autoimmune condition. And so this is why, like, anything that helps your gut lining, I try to add in. There's stuff like marshmallow root, there's N-acetylcysteine, there's tons of stuff. But eating just real food and not eating stuff that's going to inflame your gut. But yeah, let's see kind of what else he has to say for another minute.
Occurs when the gut lining is damaged and isn't able to function effectively as a barrier anymore. Small holes in the intestines become bigger and inflamed and allow undigested particles to enter your system. This creates a firestorm of inflammation that develops into conditions like Crohn's disease, IBS, celiac, and small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, otherwise known as SIBO. And here's a real kicker. Any of these intestinal bowel diseases can lead to mental health symptoms and distress. In a Taiwanese study of 4,500 IBS patients, researchers found that half of these patients suffered from depression and anxiety from abnormal and inexplicable symptoms. They also found that IBS patients were at a higher than average risk of developing bipolar disorder.
Again, it's a tragedy that so many people go in for these mental health issues, and their gut health and overall health oftentimes is never even looked at. It's just, you have bipolar, let's get you on an antipsychotic, bye. Imagine a world where those people would get a GI map test, a full organic acids test, they would talk to them about what they're eating, and they would try to actually address what's going on there. Because how is your body going to make the proper levels of neurotransmitters and function optimally if you're never addressing that? But no, just give them Abilify or another drug that doctor probably works with, that psychiatrist works with. And also those companies help write the book of how to treat those mental health diseases. It's a bummer, dude. But yeah, that's how it is. So this dude's just going to eat a bunch of Red 40 for a few days, I think.
Feels like it's going to blow up. I can't fall back asleep. It feels like my stomach linings are kind of slowly melting. I don't think this is Red 40's fault. I think this is more so the blame of eating a whole bag of Flaming Hot Cheetos.
That's probably true, man. Like the amount of Red 40, I make so many jokes about it, but the big thing is the foods that it is in are also just gonna suck to eat. So I feel bad for this dude.
The Ruffles. Not very proud of that, but looks like we didn't gain any weight. I had over 4,000 calories worth of chips over a 3-day span. Whatever, I mean, I am working out quite a bit, so I guess that makes sense. Alright, let's go get some real food.
I am now gonna get a haircut. My hair?
Hey, shout out this guy for doing the red 43-day challenge. Look, that's not really how the body works. It takes more time for negative things to negatively affect the body. We're very resilient. And also, this like idea of weight gain and weight loss being everything is so crazy, guys. Like, do you not see the reality that 1 out of 3 people are getting cancer? Do you not see the reality that people that are not obese and maybe very skinny get cancer? Like, this idea of weight loss, weight gain being everything, so important. Doesn't matter what you eat as long as you're at a good weight is crazy. It's very important to not be obese, but I think there's deeper stuff going on. But yeah, interesting video. Shout out to that dude.
Paul, where is the research showing soy consumption has feminizing effects in men? Soy does not have any feminizing effects in men. If soy is feminizing, then show me the f***ing evidence, Paul.
There's research in rats comparing soybean extract, BPA, which is 18 estrogen, 17 beta estradiol on the testicles, showing that soybean extract looks a lot like BPA and 17 beta estradiol in rats. That's not a good thing. Decreases hormone levels. In human men, there's a study showing inverse association, meaning the more soy food intake there was, the lower the sperm concentration in the semen. There was a study done comparing soy protein to whey protein, looking at hormonal responses to lifting weights in men. After 14 days of supplementation with soy protein, there was a blunting of serum testosterone relative to whey protein.
That is the most interesting study, what he just referenced right there when they compared soy protein supplementation with whey protein supplementation. I feel like that's the most interesting study on soy that I've seen, because I think Paul is not perfectly right here. There isn't like a mountain of evidence that shows that soy is going to decrease your testosterone. I don't really think that it's that simple. A lot of the foods that they put soy flour into and soy protein into also are high in processed sugar. And yeah, I think if you were to run a study combining those, I don't think you would see a favorable hormonal response. But I'm not like, I don't know. I think the soy estrogen meme is a meme for good reason. I feel like if any one of you out there wanted to just like try and experiment on yourself and eat a bunch of soy, don't do that. But if you want, you can see how you feel. This idea of testosterone is also complex. I think there's a lot of other stuff going on than just testosterone in terms of energy production, how viral you feel, you know. But yeah, I don't think there's a significant amount of evidence in humans that soy is feminizing for men, but there is some interesting stuff for sure there. And I do not eat soy. Personally, I just have other foods that get me the same nutrition or better, and they don't have some concerning studies. Let's see this one. Huberman, cannabis and health harms. So this is a 2-hour-long podcast this dude sent me. So we're not gonna look at all this, but let's fast forward back to here.
By another statistic, which is that unlike a lot of other drugs, the rate of cannabis use is strongly related to how dangerous people perceive cannabis to be. Now that might seem obvious on the one hand.
All right, look, I'll just summarize this idea of cannabis and health. And I've listened to this whole podcast, so this dude sent me something I've already listened to. All good. It can be beneficial for people that have actual shit going on. You watching this, if you're 16 years old and you hit the cart every day and you like watching fulcrum videos and ripping the Benjamin 9 times a day, that is not what cannabis is meant for medically, okay? And if you want some of the medical benefits of cannabis, you could just use CBD, but it's non-psychoactive. So a lot of people don't like that because they want to get messed up. They want to get high. And there are downsides of this. Negative effects on sleep, potential negative effects on your hormones, negative effects on dopamine and serotonin. So I don't think using it every single day, multiple times a day is good for you. And I also don't think it's something to be so scared of that people think it's evil. Some people still think it should be illegal. I think that's ludicrous. It's not that deep. You shouldn't be addicted to it and using it every single day. But it's not even in the same boat as like alcohol is for me. If you use alcohol a lot, like it's going to ruin your life pretty fast. And while I think that could happen to some people with cannabis, let's be real. They are different substances. They have different effects on the body. So yeah, let's look at Saladino's house tour, dude. This is actually pretty cool.
This is the Paul Saladino house tour. I've always wanted to do this, and I've always been a little scared of doing this, but I'm going to show you my house.
Dude, this place is sick.
As you can see here, I've got a pretty amazing view. So we'll look out here. There's an amazing river below my house. This is where I wanted to live in Costa Rica. I wanted to be able to see the ocean, but I want to be in the jungle. So I basically have a tree house, and I'm going to take you through my tree house. There's a lot of things in my quaint bachelor pad tree house that are specific that I've changed to make it a little healthier environment for me to live. And so I hope you guys will find value in this. Let's go. Come on. So we're going to come back to the pool at the end.
I wonder if the pool is saltwater, because that's something. We have a pool out here. It's just a bitch to do saltwater, so we don't. But I don't really like getting in it that often because of chlorine. We just get in the ocean, which is right there.
This took a long time to build, and I built this specifically. So stay tuned. I will tell you all about the pool, and I will jump from up there at the end of the video. So I've got an outdoor gym here, bottom level outdoor gym. I hate LED lights, guys. I hate being indoors for working out. When I'm outside like this, I get infrared light, I get ultraviolet light. And if I want to be in the shade, I can be in here under the awning, under the ceiling, and I'm still getting infrared light. If you listen to my podcast with Tristan Scott, you heard that infrared light is essential for human health. I think so many of us are deficient in infrared light because we're living in buildings with glass. I'm not getting outside.
That is facts. I have a dude on the podcast tomorrow who's going to talk all about infrared light. But yeah, like you absorb it when you're outside, and so you should spend more time outside. I don't like fluorescent light either, but I like going to the gym. I like all the machines they have at the gym. I like seeing people at the gym. Just like going to the gym with the homies, I think is still completely doable. We do go to a gym now that has like a little outdoor workout area, so I try to go in and out for sure. And I do outdoor workouts as well. But it seems like he has a great setup there because he's not trying to be a bodybuilder, bro. He doesn't need all the machines and stuff. I don't think he's into like science-based, hypertrophy lifting. I think he's just trying to stay lean, muscular, and like mobile. So he has everything it looks like that he needs there.
Wrestling mats, which are also going down to the skate ramp, more of like a martial arts area down there.
I wonder if he's training down there. I know there's some good jiu-jitsu down there in Costa Rica. The Rotolo brothers, hey.
This I use a lot. So I love to hang, and I love to do pull-ups. I love extending. I love the way it feels to decompress my...
If you don't hang from a pull-up bar multiple times per day, I don't know what you're doing. At my house, I set up a pull-up bar because it's like, bro, it's like, why not? It's so easy to do. He posted a video of him hanging for like 12 minutes. It's insane. Like, go try that. That's crazy. That's a long time, bro.
All right, so I want to show you guys my laundry room. It sounds boring, but I promise you want to see it. What's interesting about the laundry room is not necessarily what's in here, but how I wash my clothes. So I use vinegar to wash my clothes, sometimes vinegar and baking soda, but that's all I do. I don't use any detergents. I hate dyes and fragrances and all this bullshit. So
yeah, this works surprisingly well. My wife uses vinegar when it's like a normal load of laundry. However, she still uses like a natural laundry detergent when it's my jiu-jitsu clothes or something like that. Like she's just like, nah, I gotta bust out some soap. My buddy Austin just came out with a laundry detergent, and there's other brands like I think like what is it, EOS, 7th generation. Yeah, we get unscented ones and use that sometimes. Then what my wife will do is put it on multiple rinse cycles to really try to get all that stuff out of there. But yeah, the vinegar method works well, dude, and your clothes do not smell like vinegar. If you do a rinse cycle, they don't smell like vinegar. So yeah, it's a really clean, non-toxic way to wash your clothes. Okay, we got to see the surf quiver. Let's go.
5'11", a 6'0" shadow, and a 6'0" ghost. And then I've got a fishy type board for when the waves get really small.
Hell yeah.
And I got a fun board over there that I've never used, and a boogie board for the kids. And a boogie board over there for friends if they don't want to go on a surfboard. So you can see my truck is here, guys. Raptor here in Costa Rica. I don't know.
Crucial in Costa Rica.
People, when they show their house, they show their truck. So this is my Raptor truck in Costa Rica. It's pretty great. I basically just use it to go to the beach and back and go on dirt roads and drive through rivers. So, but it's cool that it's a diesel because hopefully it'll last longer. No electric cars here. All right, let's go up. I'll show you guys the kitchen. So welcome to my kitchen. Pretty basic. Like I said, I live in a treehouse. I got wood countertops. These are not super durable, but I love the way they look. And I have a bajillion wood cutting boards. You will not find any plastic cutting boards in my house.
Dude, that's funny. We had to film a thing with a plastic cutting board, and we're like, do we have one here? We don't, so we had to go buy one. But yeah, if you don't have wood cutting boards at home, you're tripping. That's the way to go.
Filming some stuff here, so we've got some supplies out today. This is a guanabana, a soursop that I picked off one of the trees in my yard.
I'm trying to do a guanabana soursop electrolyte. Just need to get it perfect. One of the best fruits ever, but only grows tropically.
Exciting, beautiful rat's nest of cables. This is my abstract art piece. It's called Ethernet cables, and I don't want EMFs. So yeah, there's no Wi-Fi at my house, which means that if you ever come to my house, like if you come to the gathering in Costa Rica on Memorial Day of this year, 2025, in details are at the abnrf.org.
Okay. We tried to go to one of those, right? We were invited. Yeah. 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 Guys, we tried to go to a set. We were invited to go link up with Saladino, and it never, we got there. We went to this town that he's in Costa Rica. And you know what? Like, I blame probably his management team and stuff like that. I don't think Saladino's a bad guy. You know, I know they don't really like collabing with brands, right? We run a brand. They run a brand. I don't give a shit. I just want to make people healthy. You know, whatever. We'll leave that in the past. So you see a lot of this stuff with the technology. You know, Ethernet there. I think that's great. I mean, I do have Wi-Fi at my house. The really cool thing about my house is the Wi-Fi doesn't reach, like the signal doesn't reach the bedroom where my wife and I sleep, and we love that. Sometimes it's annoying when I'm trying to like load something up and I'm lying in bed, but I'm like, whatever, it doesn't matter. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, like all the light in our house is all, basically at night, I'm able to switch to these lights that are on the ground that are barely bright. There's salt lamps. There's other lights my wife has gotten from Huga Health, I believe, the same company that makes the red light that I use. Shout out Huga Health, code Santa Cruz. And they make some light bulbs. So at night, I really get everything pretty dark. And that's just how you want to do it, man. Start your melatonin secretion.
I use a boar's hair toothbrush because I don't want microplastics from toothbrush bristles.
So I do use toothpaste. I use a brand called Boca. Saladino says he doesn't use toothpaste, all he just uses water. I am not like crazy against that. I do think a lot of the health of your teeth, if you look at the work of Dr. Weston A. Price, does come from your nutrition, and your oral microbiome is huge. I just like using toothbrush and some toothpaste. Boca toothpaste is very non-toxic, uses non-nanohydroxyapatite rather than fluoride. And I do think some of these toothpastes have crazy ingredients. Why would you be brushing your teeth with Blue One? It's insane. But I do use like a toothbrush and toothpaste. Let's see what else. Shower filter.
That's it. I mean, there's nothing else here in my bathroom. I work.
Love it. In my house, I have a whole house filter. Then I have the organic Jaguar shower filters. We have the RO system in the sink.
Contacts. So you got contact solution. A razor here. Occasionally.
Wait, where's contacts?
I wear contacts. So you got contact solution.
That's kind of wild. Aren't contacts made out of plastic? They're plastic. I wear contacts. You wear contacts. Yeah, it sucks. That's actually kind of interesting that he wears contacts because of all the efforts he goes through to
There are silicone.
There's silicone ones? Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I bet he's like on that. But that's interesting he doesn't completely ditch them because like a lot of the experts in eye health that are like on the ball are basically saying that wearing glasses, unless you really need them, you're blind, you can't like drive at all. But like if you have like a little bit, you shouldn't wear glasses because it makes your eyes adapt faster to the glasses and less resilient. So it's interesting that he wears contacts, but yeah, he's probably got some like locked in contacts, man.
Myself here, you guys can see what we're working with. I'm about 5'9", 165.
That's like pretty much what I'm at. I'm like 5'8", 168 today. I'm a little big. He's got bees, dude. This is really sick. Jiu-jitsu mats and a little skate ramp. That is sick. He's doing some carving. We were doing that a few days ago. It's good for like surf training. Just fun.
All right, guys, let's send it. Here we go.
Hell yeah. That's sick. And then yeah, I've seen this video before. So he works on some like breath work stuff. Dude, the house is insanely dope. Like that is absolutely goals house. I don't know, maybe I don't go as hard on some things. Like I don't know if I'd have all the Ethernet cables and some stuff, you know. I guess I live more of like a normal life, but yet still pretty locked in. The things I'd recommend for everybody to do for their house: get an RO filter, dial in your light setup or lack of light in the evening, be able to like switch on some lights that come from the ground and are, Himalayan salt lamps or red light lamps, stuff like that. With your Wi-Fi router, have it on a timer. They even sell like Faraday cages that you can cage up your Wi-Fi router at night. That's pretty cool. There's tons of just like little things you can do for your house. Get an air filter. Get some weights and like a good like little work setup that makes you work out more. Get a sauna. I have a sauna in my house. 2 houses, 2 saunas, dog. Come on. So once you stack those things, you're going to become a healthier person because the environment that you live in is going to dictate how healthy you are. And people might look at Saladino and think some stuff's crazy. Like he had like a red, basically he turned his fridge light into like a red light. That's not crazy to me at all. That's called something so easy to do that can slightly benefit your health. Is it going to make a monumental change in that dude's health because he opens his fridge now and now it's more of a red light versus a blue light? No, it's not going to make some monumental crazy change. But is it this easy to do? Yeah, he put some like red plastic or whatever he put there. Boom, done. That easy. So yeah, man, I love it. Shout out Saladino. Maybe we'll collab in the future. We tried. Let's see this video on Burt's Bees.
First of all, good grief, Burt's Bees? I want to sue this company. I put the Burt's Bees on. I didn't like the way it felt when I was doing it. I already talked about that in the application step. Bad application. Hydration? This dried my lips out. I put this on and it felt like I was drinking salt water. Also, I had this one on my lips. I walked outside into the cold to go get the mail. My face sucked in on itself like that Squidward meme. I thought I was gonna swallow my own lips. They dried out so fast. So not only did it dry my lips out on its own, but the interaction with the cold, dry air was like an accelerator. I thought they were gonna crisp up and just fall off my face. That is my experience with this lip balm. And you need to know.
Yeah, man. Hey, Burt's Bees sucks, man. Honestly, I haven't found a big box lip balm that is good. You want the original ingredients, beeswax and beef tallow. Beeswax is extremely moisturizing and it protects your lips. Beef tallow, also very moisturizing, contains fats that closely mimic your skin's natural oils. This is the best. This is more affordable than Burt's Bees. We have the 4-packs on Amazon. It's one of our top products, okay? So there's a reason this product is so fire. We're working on cherry, spearmint, vanilla, other flavor ideas. Let me know below. But dude, if you're still using Burt's Bees has 3 types of seed oils in there. Now, am I thinking that, oh, you're going to ingest those and going to ruin your health? No, but it makes the product cheap, bro. Like soybean oil's cheap, canola oil's cheap. You want to get something that has high quality ingredients. So boom, right there. Try it out. Let's see what else. That was a funny video. Oh yeah, Dr. Suzanne Humphries. Listen to this whole episode. Let's see like what. It was amazing. I mean, she was saying a lot of stuff that like we've talked about a bunch. Now she gets deep into vaccines. This is a very controversial topic. People go, Santa Cruz is anti-vax. I think there's some vaccines that are valid. I'm anti-mandating a COVID vax for every man, woman, and child out there, and the data is there to support me. Do you really think a healthy 18-year-old who has amazing VO2 max and is in shape is the exact same and should be given the exact same shot as a morbidly obese 70-year-old with COVID? With the COVID, come on, like, guys, it's stupid. And then the fact they tried to push the boosters on everybody in the Bay Area, they made it mandated that every man, woman, child, baby get this. Come on, what are we doing? So it's a very fascinating episode. If you want to go listen to it and really learn more about that industry, go for it. It's just crazy, bro. It's insane. And then they use this weaponization of this term anti-vax. Like, no, I just want to look into each thing that you're telling me to put into my body. You're mandating that children get in order to enter the education system. It's something that is forced, right? Like if you're saying, hey, this baby needs 25 shots by the time they are 5 years old, and if they don't get that, then they cannot enter the public school system. What happens if they don't enter the public school system? You don't have the money to homeschool them in an accredited homeschool situation. Well, then Child Protective Services is going to come, and they're going to take away your child. So you're pretty much saying to people, hey, if you don't do this medical procedure, basically, we're going to seize your child. And so I think these things should be looked into in depth, and I do not think it is as simple as, oh yeah, there's 28 mandated vaccines and they're all good. They have no side effects. There's nothing bad about them. They save the world. There might be a few that do, but you should really look into that, and looking into that doesn't make you An evil person. How corporations betrayed fat acceptance.
How much have they offered you?
We're talking probably over $10,000 per post for pushing Ozempic.
For like a single Instagram post?
A single Instagram post.
It's like how...
Believe it or not, or using you and your followers as an opportunity for financial gain?
I think that that's a great question. I think performative inclusivity is something we need to talk more about. So for instance, I've worked with McDonald's, like you said. Have we ever had a conversation about making their restaurants more accessible or having more representation in their marketing? No, I definitely haven't spoken to them about that. But then there are companies like Big Fig Mattress who specifically target plus size community, and you can see it through and through that they're supporting the community in every aspect. In the marketing, fat people are represented.
If I wanted to make a bunch of money, I would realize that half of America is fat and they don't want to change. So then what I would do is I would find fat people that have a following and I would pay them money to basically pander things that fat people want to hear, that it's not their fault that they're fat. These foods that they like eating aren't that bad, or they should eat them. And I would just market more to fat people to eat foods that make them fat and consume products that make them fat. And because they're so fat that they can't even lie down on a normal mattress, well, buy this mattress. It can support 7,000, it can support 2,000 pounds. Wasn't there a dude who was 1,000 pounds? I mean, come on, man. So yeah, this is insidious. And, we did see the whole thing that happened recently where the sugar industry paid off a lot of dietitians to basically promote sugar. We see that. We saw the aspartame industry pay off a lot of people to support artificial sweeteners, which, it is what it is. But this is like crazy, bro. Like McDonald's is going to pay this woman to probably say that more people should eat McDonald's. So it's literally what I'm fighting against. It's just crazy, bro. There's billions and billions, probably trillions of dollars against what I do. And you saw Saladino in that video earlier joking about it. He has a guard dog for like big corporations and stuff. There's something to that. Now we got a guard dog, but we got guns. So yeah, I think we're harming a multi-billion-dollar industry, because when people get actually in shape, they don't need a lot of these things that these companies also own and sell. So yeah, let's see everything an NFL dietitian does on game day. The Chargers. This could either be really good or really bad.
400 waters a day, 100 energy drinks a day, 400 Uncrustables per week. Just being able to keep up with 200 plus people that are consuming all these products all day long. We set up the locker room. We have...
This is like a Gatorade ad or
something.
something.
Try to keep it consistent. They don't even have to look. They know where it is, find what they need quickly, because especially when they're in here at halftime or in here right before the game, they don't have a whole lot of time. They're rushed. And so we just try to keep everything consistent and similar so that they're familiar with it. All of our nutrition products, for the most part, are at the bottom. Down here, you have our special drinks that we make. Some beet shot, hot shot, pickle juice, fruit smoothie, fuel for fire, applesauce, of course. All these products are pretty much situational, depending on, maybe what condition.
All right, let's see what they kind of eat before the game.
Apply that, then we can come up with his replacement drinks throughout the game. So we have like a pre-game one, halftime, and then post-game. We know.
That's interesting. They're not just drinking Gatorade. Like what? The Gatorade won't hydrate them enough? Like they're adding other stuff. I'm sure they're adding more sodium, potassium, and magnesium. We've talked about endlessly. Like, it's funny, Gatorade's hydration recommendation is not to just drink a Gatorade. It's like, no, you need to add stuff to our Gatorade or like make something else. This doesn't even look like Gatorade at all.
And their electrolytes with something that they actually enjoy.
So they're making custom electrolyte drinks. We've talked about this before. Tom Brady was like, I drink a salt-based electrolyte, concoction. Yeah, I mean, it just looks like pretty basic. I mean, these dudes obviously need to feed a lot and they're going to burn everything off, but yeah, I mean, how many of these players keep on eating Uncrustables after they retire and they balloon up? Or they're just damaging their neurotransmitter levels, their gut microbiome. They're getting sick more often. They're creating more inflammation in their joints because they're eating bad food. Oh, look who it is. Mike.
It's phenomenal. So very simple ingredients here, very simple inputs. We have some grass-fed butter. We have a minced white onion. And we have a freshly harvested elk heart here, which I'm going to get out from the bottom. A friend of mine, Jared, gave this to me. So this is a elk heart. It's interesting about heart. Heart is enriched in coenzyme Q10, actually dietary coenzyme Q10 that supports mitochondrial health, used to come from bovine heart. So we're going to mince up the heart, This has been soaking in a salt brine to pull out some of the blood.
It's crazy that the heart of an animal contains CoQ10, and CoQ10 is good for your heart health. I think this whole like supports like thing, I do think there is something to that. Liver is high in vitamin A, which helps support liver health. I think it's very interesting. But yeah, I mean, go eat some organs, guys. I'm going to wrap up this reaction episode. Let me know if you like these, and join our Discord if you can, and leave good stuff in there for me to react to that's just current in the health world. Anything you want me to react to, honestly, I will dive into that. Whether it's the cookie verse, whether it's, you know, stuff in health and nutrition, people's workouts, people's dietary choices, whatever you want. We'll do this once a week. I love you guys so much. Stay locked in. Stay healthy. Go get some chapsticks too. Fuck that Burt's Beads, man. Let's go. Peace.